Right. Good morning, friends. It is Thursday. No. Yes. Today's Thursday, May 16th, and I arrived in Edinburgh yesterday at Delta with my sweet friend Rico, and then got around and checked in, figured out a ride card, and did a bit more walking than I'd planned, but it's all good. And the weather was just stunning. Basically, I wandered around and I'm just as close to some big things as I thought I was. It's a 20-minute walk to Prince Street Gardens, and it was glorious. People were everywhere enjoying the weather, and Spirit got to be just a dog and enjoy himself. And we had a great dinner last night at a place we hadn't really planned on going, but it's right on the Royal Mile, which is where Rico's company puts him up. And I really should remember the pictures where we stayed, where we ate. But today is Thursday, and it is past 10:30. I woke up at 10:30. I thought the street noise might keep me up, and there's no fan or air conditioning, which is really interesting for those of us from the States. I knew it was happening. I was prepared for it. Today, really, the goal is just to keep getting my feet under me, not panic, don't lose it. I'm here by myself, but I'm not by myself. It's Edinburgh. People are busy. We're going to go to Dovecot Studios and see the Warhol textile lunch exhibit with a docent. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we're going to do a few more museums and galleries. And then tonight we're going to go to the Lyceum and see Macbeth revisited, the Scottish play. So I'll let you know how it goes. Peace out. Dovecot Studios Cafe. Ordered a pot of tea, and I have a tour in about 15 or 20 minutes. So I have already downed one cuppa from the hostel and got my first bus, and it was seamless and the app worked, and now I'm at the textile studio and going nuts that I can't bring a whole bunch of stuff back because of how much space that contains. So, Dovecot Studios Andy Warhol Textiles is amazing. The prints you can purchase online, and while they're wonderful and I wouldn't mind owning a few of them at all, the textile story is really interesting. The short version is that Warhol was a working young man, and his name was actually Warhola, and a little typo changed his name in Glamour magazine. He did commercial design, and then studios could, textile factories could buy that design and make fabric with it, and then he had no control over what was made with the fabric. You can tell that most of this was done in the 50s. His style was made of broken line, a kind of print repeat thing, and so the little sketchy line along the edge is how you're supposed to be able to identify Warhol, and that's what they did when they were trying to source these fabrics, because it turns out his name wasn't associated with them. It's not like it's on the edge of a selvage or anything. This is the butterfly collection. Some of these have been reproduced. Some of these are originals purchased by they call them housewives, who would have designed it into whatever they wanted. But they may or may not have even known that this was a Warhol print, because again, there's no name on the selvage of the fabric, and for the most part, I think I could wear 90% of what's in this display. It's listed as a swimsuit, but I've also seen this listed as a romper or a play suit. Big textiles. They said these were designed after the war when people were sick of khaki and gray, and they wanted something that was brighter, more cheerful. Again, I can totally see myself wearing that skirt, even with that cute little top. This was a little sedate, but he took everyday objects and then repeated them. These are rulers. This is just, a length of textile, and again, they aren't really attributed to him. There was a big research to find the work that he had done and the companies that then produced it, and then to find originals. The name of the people who did all the research is out here somewhere, but we'll deal with that later. So this is his fruits, and they said that the companies could print his things on a colored background. He originally sent them in with just white backgrounds. They chose to do this with a darker background, and it's lemons. Some more fruits in this amazing little dress with a pop. It looks like a pop-over top. It may just be not fitting very well on the mannequin. This is one that was made by a homemaker, because you can see she was extending the fabric. I'm guessing that this cute sock fabric was a little expensive, and she supplemented it with some black rickrack, or black fabric and rickrack. But look at that great little self-tie belt fabric belt that someone made. Isn't that cute? These are hats. Very plain, sedate, a little bit cute print. I want this. I need this. I definitely need this dress. Now, someone had said this was part of the textiles, but it really looks to me almost like it was appliqued on. It's not. Amazing. And it could be printed in other varieties. He just sold the design and had no control over what it got turned into. This is gardening themes. I swear I've seen that fabric somewhere. This would have been from the 57 to 58 time. Again, the textile companies could take it and change the scale. They could make it much bigger, like they did over here. They could keep it small. Obviously, they're changing the colors. And we learned a quick little thing about Paisley. Paisley became famous from the name because of the area it was made in Paisley in Scotland. And it is the original chop. Paisley is actually the shape of your hand. You're going to stamp it on that curve is your finger, and then there's your hand, and Warhol combined them. A bit of a animation here, almost looks like koi. And this, I recognize this pattern. This is a very simple 1950s pattern that you could adjust the sleeves. You see it's tied. It was a really simple pattern. And then a slip. It's just adorable. And he had nothing to do with the design. Once the fabric was done, it could be turned into anything, and most of these are done by just home sewers. Here's some very 1970s dresses, all with polyester, and all of these except the one on the far end were made by homeowners. The one on the far end was made by a commercial company. But the rest of these, you can just see how people picked them and made it for themselves. Hostess gowns with split legs. Apparently he had an incredible sweet tooth, and he enjoyed designing sweets. So there's ice cream and candies, and this is toffee apples or candy apples. Again, this can be made by a homeowner who just saw that and thought, oh, here's yet another of this kind of 70s polyester fabric. Little flounce. And look at how nicely someone's matched this fabric. Well, okay, they didn't match it, but it's a complete apple. So they said that he liked sweets so much that on his literal last meal before the surgery that killed him, he ate nothing but ice cream. I really like this dark background. It's called Angels and Bugs. So many stars. It looks like it was combined. Just so gorgeous. Gonna wrap this up. This is acetate from the 70s, and they said it was important that the textile company mixed the pinks and the oranges at that point. Again, another little skirt that would totally fit me. Another little skirt that would totally fit me with the semaphores. More semaphores, cute play sets. I mean, someone wore that. That obviously shows some aging and some wear. How great is that? Luggage tags is what they call that, but that has luggage in it too. Incredible little knife pleat. He moved from commercial to fine art. They talked about how his repeating patterns from the textiles had begun to take over, and this was supposed to be one of the first that did the repeating, and then next was when he started doing the soup labels and the things like that. Here's some more designs. Again, individual seamstresses. The cravats were mass-produced. And this reminded me so much of, this fabric was found, again, there's no name, but they studied his work enough to know that this was his print, and this was in a person's sewing stash sleeves that they'd never sewn up. There were some things in my stash like that until the divorce, so I really understand. But how they found it, like who said, oh gosh, you're looking for Warhol stuff. There was an enormous amount of work that went into finding, sourcing, purchasing these fabrics. And apparently it all started at a thrift shop, a vintage shop in Albuquerque. So I'm curious to know if Monty knows anything about it. The very first dress in this exhibit was from a shop in Albuquerque. Happy Butterfly Day is The one that started this dress is the one that they found in a vintage shop in Albuquerque. And Monty has a couple of vintage shops that he's just gobsmacked about, and I'm so curious if it came from there, because they purchased it for about $350 and it is now valued at 5 figures. It is, what time is it? 2 p.m. on Thursday. So I just finished the Dovecot studio. It was really nice, and I did a little video about that. We figured out a bus and a bus stop and jumped on, and the driver was very kind, and he had closed the door by the time I figured it out, but he let us on. And this is our first or second bus of the day. And again, I'm very happy with where I picked to stay, because it is on a main drag. All the transportation comes right to my door and stops at Spirits Park. We now call Gayland Park Spirits Park, because that's where I walk him. He can be off leash. It's wonderful. It's enclosed. There were some cute young footballers getting ready to do some type of barbecue. I get the impression that people don't work here, but it's just that there must be a lot of other people on holiday or tourists or whatever, because that's the second pack of young men that I've seen in this city. It is the middle of May in 2024, so maybe it's, summer holidays. Who knows? I don't know when their terms end around here. I'm just going to sit here and charge up some things, this camera, and back my phone up, and probably enjoy this neighborhood the rest of the afternoon. I'm not feeling an incredible urge to do museums and portrait galleries and things. The weather's so nice. We may end up going to Prince Street Gardens again just to hang out. I did stop at a market. They're tucked in everywhere, small markets, and I grabbed some room deodorizer and some tea for the evening, because they only have caffeinated tea free, but they have good tea free at the hospital, and a constant supply of boiling water. So I just poured a kettle, and we're going to enjoy it and then go explore some more. And tonight we'll take a bus to go to the theater. So this bottle of wine was consumed before the show, helped with the bus ride, landed at Princess Street Gardens, did a little sidewalk through there, and it took me a while, but I did find the theater. The biggest problem was I didn't take any pictures because it's a theater, so I can't show you how great the show was. And when the show was over, the dog was very popular, of course, and stood and chatted with people. My phone died, and I didn't have directions back. I made it. It was a challenge.